Donald Trump has been speaking to reporters at his New Jersey golf club in the past hour, hosting his second press conference in as many weeks in front of a pile of groceries, taking the opportunity to claim voters are worse off since he left office.
Radical California liberal who broke the economy, broke the border, and broke the world, frankly. Very destructive to the entire world because as we go, oftentimes the world goes. She destroys everything she touches. And if she wins, your finances and your country will never recover. You're never going to recover. Now Kamala is reportedly proposing communist price controls. She wants price controls. And if they worked, I'd go along with it too, but they don't work. They actually have the exact opposite impact and effect. But it leads to food shortages, rationing, hunger.
Well. Okay, so that's Donald J. Trump, and his remarks come on the same day that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, so the vice president and the current president, held their first joint speaking appearance since she replaced him at the top of the Democratic ticket. Whilst earlier, vice president candidates J.D. Vance and Tim Walz agreed to a debate on October the 1st, in the final run-up to Election Day. Lots to digest with Patsy Widakuswara, White House bureau chief for the Voice of America. She's on the line. Patsy, welcome back.
Thank you, Henry. Pleasure to be with you.
It's great to have you here. All right, so first of all, the optics. Donald Trump speaking to reporters in front of a pile of groceries. How did that look?
Well, it looked like it was going to be something where he was going to focus on the economic side and on policy. But this event was billed as a press conference. However, for the first 45 minutes, maybe 15 minutes or so, he did not take any questions. It was just a lot of the usual kind of rambling, stream of consciousness, touching upon all sorts of issues, grievances, and so on, until he took the first question. So the groceries was the backdrop for the topic, which is the economy, but it ended up being more of the usual kind of, Donald Trump style of talking about anything that passes through his mind.
Yeah. And since we last spoke, Patsy, Walz and Harris, the new Democratic ticket, appear to be performing more and more strongly in the polls. They're talking to packed audiences, whether they appear together or solo. Meanwhile, Trump and J.D. Vance are under more and more pressure, and they're appearing in front of sometimes half-empty rooms, it would appear, and slipping behind in the polls. How much pressure did Donald Trump look under tonight?
He did not look visibly like he was under pressure. He kept on saying the usual narrative that Kamala Harris is somebody that is easier to beat than Donald Trump because nobody in the country knows her because she's so far left, she's liberal, and so on. But clearly, he is worried about the polls. I mean, at one point, there was one of the reporters who asked, what do you think about some of these polls that show that either Harris is beating you slightly? Basically, he said, I usually poll low, even though just a few minutes earlier he was bragging about his standing in the polls. So this is something that the campaign is worried about. In fact, they just did some reshuffling in terms of campaign staffers because they really needed to focus on a message, right? They really want to focus on what is it, the narrative that they want to hit the Harris-Walz campaign with. And so far, they have struggled to settle on focus. And it's mainly because Donald Trump cannot settle on the focus. His campaign wants him to talk about the economy, wants him to talk about immigration, but Trump ends up talking about all sorts of other things, including Kamala Harris's race, her laugh, and the usual kind of election interference and election denialism. So it's hard for the campaign to be disciplined when the principal is not disciplined.
Yeah, and Trump is boasting that he holds town halls, he does one-on-one interviews, he does his press conferences, and contrasts that strongly with Kamala Harris, who he claims is hiding away and just preaching to the converted. Has he got a point? And if so, might it hurt her at some point in the near future?
I don't know whether it will hurt. I mean, I don't know, honestly, how much stock the American people put into the fact that Kamala Harris does not have these, usual press conferences or interaction with the press. I must say, however, whenever we travel with the vice president, she does come to the back of the plane and then she'll give us an off the record. Now, obviously, this is not something that is ideal. We want something on the record. and she has come to speak to reporters and briefly answers 1, 2, 3 questions every time she goes. But she has not done a proper press conference, exactly as Donald Trump points out.
And is that
While
because
Trump,
her minders
he
don't
is
trust her?
struggling.
Patsy, is that because her minders don't trust her? They're worried that if she
I
gets asked a difficult question, she
so
can't think
so
on her feet or whatever?
I am not in the mind of their campaign, so I
Sure.
cannot answer that on behalf of her campaign. But analysts would point out that she is doing well right now, just campaigning on rallies where she is getting a lot of response, where she's packing halls more than 10,000 people and so on. So that's not the focus of the campaign right now. The focus of the campaign right now is getting her introduced to the American people, and a rally is an easy way to do it. She's preparing for the debate coming up, and she has also said she has also told us that this is something that she wants to do, and she is preparing or she's gearing up for to get it scheduled in terms of speaking to the press in a press conference.
Right. And we've also had Vice President Harris and President Biden holding their first joint speaking appearance since she replaced him at the top of the Democratic ticket, and it's made the front page of one of the UK newspapers. And I mean, he looks animated, she looks animated, and both of them smiling deliriously happily, and lots of people in the background. How did it come across, their first joint appearance since she replaced him at the top of the ticket?
Well, there's a couple of things there. Number one, Harris took pains to highlight the accomplishments of President Biden. He received a lot of applause, basically saying that, this is the man that we should be thankful for. I mean, clearly, both of them were trying to support each other, if not for, kind of like real feelings, but also for the good of the party, obviously, and for the good of the campaign. So that's not something unusual or unexpected. I think one key thing also, because they were out there talking about the economy and lowering prices of prescription drugs, so you can see there is going to be some continuity in terms of economic policies. However, tomorrow I'm scheduled to travel with Vice President Harris to rally in North Carolina, where she will unveil her economic policy. And from what has been tipped by her campaign, we know that the proposals that she's going to lay out are far more populist than what Joe Biden has embraced, including a federal ban on price gouging, and also assistance for first-time home buyers in the form of actual down payment money. These are really sort of progressive proposals that even Biden has not introduced, and that was what Donald Trump was commenting earlier. Where I think you are the one who mentioned it when he said that this is a communist style proposal. This
Yeah.
is in the style of Nicolas Maduro. So probably that's the only new thing that I heard about from Trump in his press conference today, as he was commenting to this new proposal to be laid out by Harris tomorrow.
All right. Patsy Widakuswara, White House Bureau Chief for Voice of America, thank you very much indeed. Dom says, can't Kamala Harris be left to decide her own strategy? It seems to be working well for her so far. Thank you, Dominic.